So somebody wrote in to ask, what is Islam's standpoint on homosexuality? And this is obviously a large conversation, so permit me a few extra minutes just to answer the question, hopefully in a way that people can understand the 360 degrees of the issue. Let me start with maybe what some of the conclusions are. That Islam in no way, shape or form endorses any type of hatred, negative action, physical harm to any group of people, no matter who they are, what they believe in, and what they do. And this really needs to be stated clear. Just because Islam morally sees something as haram, as prohibited, it doesn't mean that we go and we hurt people, we persecute people, we bully people, we kill people, etc. That itself is haram. So that needs to be stated in the beginning. That this idea that somehow, because there's an issue with homosexuality as a moral sin in Islam, which we'll get to in a second, therefore we have to persecute, harm, and people that are homosexuals, that's a false notion. That's un-Islamic. And the Prophet ﷺ dealt with all sorts of people that were worshipping idols, which is the highest form of immorality in our moral system. The other thing I want to say, the second thing rather, is that there's a difference between a homosexual inclination and the homosexual act itself. And I apologize that some of the language might be a little graphic. That what is haram, what is prohibited in the Sharia, is the act of homosexuality itself, not the inclination. In other words, somebody could be living with a homosexual inclination and not act upon it, and not only are they not incurring sin, they will be incurring a reward. And there's a very important hadith that we should remember in this context, that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Man ashiqa fa'affa fakatama famata mata shahidan." Whoever loves, but the Prophet ﷺ didn't use the word love, hub. He said ishq, intense love. Whoever falls in an intense, rapturous love, fa'affa, and deals with this love or this feeling in an appropriate way, and hides this, fakatama, and they keep it to themselves, famata, and they die on that state, they die the death of a martyr, meaning that they get the reward of a martyr. And what this means is that, and I know this might not be very popular for us to hear or comfortable with the modern sort of culture in mind, but that not everything we want we can have. And really, Islam and religion in general has come to help us as humans deal with this issue. That not everything that we desire we can have. Not everything that we covet we can obtain. There are some things that have just been prevented for us. So this would be the case of a homosexual inclination. But when it comes to the act itself, that's what the Sharia would say, no, this is haram. But again, if there are people that engage, if there are people that are homosexual, whether they be gay or lesbian or it's bisexual, whatever the case may be, and they act on this and they keep it to themselves, that would be another form of, in a way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has veiled us from that. So again, we have no obligation to investigate, or this person acts funny and therefore we say that they are this or that. That's not the way that we act. So these are just some broad points for us to think about. And it's important that we understand that the act itself, the homosexual act, even though it is haram, but there are other things that are haram as well. So I don't want us to overdo this one issue and forget all of the other issues, but rather we need to have a consistent ethical paradigm, and therefore we need to be able to speak about these things in a consistent way. Wallahu a'lam.